What is up? Welcome back to Birdman. Another video today. Going to look at kind of in depth on John Fetterman, who's running for Pennsylvania Senate. No Sooners update till next week. Like I said yesterday, we'll kind of look at that more next week when they come back against Iowa State. This week's a bye week. But a big election coming up, one of the biggest ever, like they always say. But really, this year is huge. Here in another 17 days. But you know what? I've heard a little bit of John Fetterman, who was with President Biden yesterday in Pennsylvania. You've heard some stuff about him. He always wears the hoodie. He's always about the little people. I know he had a stroke in May. And I know that he's going against Dr. Oz in a crucial Senate race that could dictate who's in charge of the Senate this year. But I just kind of want to know a little more about John Fetterman. So if you don't know, a lot of you probably do, Mayor of Braddock, Pennsylvania. So Mayor of Braddock, Pennsylvania, what's the population? 1,700 folks. Not a big town in Braddock, Pennsylvania. So he was there from 2015 to 2019, I believe. How much does he get paid in Braddock? How can you get paid in Braddock, Pennsylvania if you're mayor of that small town? Well, he got paid. It looks like it was originally about $150 a month. Or a year, and then he got up to $1,800, I think, in 2015 for getting paid in Braddock, Pennsylvania. And from my knowledge, he has a wife. I know he has a wife, and then 2 children. How do you live on $1,800 a year? Well, that's where Daddy Fetterman comes in. So apparently, he was being paid $54 grand. John Fetterman, a gift from his dad in 2015. So he's been living off his parents for many years, until he was actually 49 when he got elected in 2018 as lieutenant governor. Man, that would be nice, right? So John Fetterman, time out here. John Fetterman, right, is an everyday guy. He fights for the little people. He's just like you and me. Is that what he says, right? He says he's all about the little guy. Oh, the Republicans, the conservatives, he doesn't like them. Well, we'll get through some other stuff here. But he ain't quite the everyday guy that he makes himself out to be. Mr. Hoodie, he dresses very sloppy, right? He dresses like he's just chilling. He's just like you and me. He ain't you and me. My daddy don't pay for my he don't give me $54,000 a year, and I think most people, they don't get that, right? Oh, he doesn't like to pay taxes either. Not a fan. He was about $30,000 behind in taxes. $30,000 in behind. And he paid it off, but it took him several years. But I guess he wasn't paying some of the taxes. I guess he has a nonprofit called Braddock and Redo. Probably a good organization, but he wasn't paying taxes on that. And I forget what else it said on there, but $30,000 behind in taxes. That was according to the New York Post, a recent article. You can Google it yourself and look it up. But he paid it off, but it took him a few years. But he don't like to pay taxes either. That's a lot of money. Soft on crime. He pardons tons of criminals. Is pardoning always bad? No, of course not. But I was kind of fascinated. They had a couple of different stories, but one of them, he released someone who murdered a woman, a guy who murdered a woman with a pair of scissors. He pardoned him. Does that sound like someone that needs to get out of jail? So he pardoned someone that murdered someone with a pair of scissors. Wild. Soft on crime. Soft on. I could go through other things, but this is some of the ones. He loves lockdowns. Huge proponent of lockdowns. We know that didn't work, right? But are we really surprised he's Democrat? They love lockdowns. Love lockdowns. And according to an article, during the lockdown in the infamous summer of 2020, he took his family to a Jersey Shore beach while his community was in lockdown. He took his security detail out of PA over to Jersey to have a vacation for a few days in the summer of 2020. So just saying. Schools, right? Schools in Braddock, not the best schools, under performing schools, but what do you think old Mr. Down-to-Earth Fetterman's kids go to school? Well, according to the New York Post, they don't go to those schools. They go to a private school, according to the Post, around $34,000 a year. Does that sound like an everyday guy? I don't think so. So, folks, the main thing here is, and I could go on forever. I'm an everyday guy. I work. I don't have time to go through every article. No one probably watches this video except for a few people. But when you look at these politicians, you got to do some research. And obviously, would not vote for Fetterman if I was in PA. But you know, when he comes out and they put on a display like, oh, he's an everyday guy. He'll fight for the little guy. He's done this, that. Well, why would you vote for someone that doesn't have a real job really his whole life? He takes money from his parents, who by far 98% of his whole income was by his dad. $54,000 in given from his parents in 2015. He only made $1,800. And the fact that he barely attends any of his meetings, that's a lot of meetings missed. You're missing 33% or 50% of the meetings that you're supposed to go to. That's not a very hard worker. You're not making money. You're not getting paid. It sounds like you're a fraud. I'm sorry. You cannot come out in a hoodie, put on this display like you're an everyday guy, when in fact, you're a spoiled kid. You're a spoiled dude that hasn't done anything. So just keep in fact, folks, I know Democrats probably love the guy because it supports everything they support or this and that. But really, how can you vote for somebody who hasn't really had a real job his whole life, and then he doesn't pay his taxes, and then he's so soft on crime? I mean, someone murders someone with a pair of scissors and he lets them out? That's insane. But anyways, folks, I just kind of want to go into John Fetterman's background. There's plenty more you could look at or talk about. I could research this for days, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully Dr. Oz pulls it out. But like I said, real clear politics have Republicans winning the Senate right now, 53-47. We'll see what happens. But if you'd like to listen to more, subscribe below. But thank you and have an outstanding weekend. Thank you.